Peoples, what's going on? This is your boy Finesse, and today's video is sponsored by Custom Dynamics. If you get on the Custom Dynamics website, it's a real simple website to navigate. You put in your information, you put in your make, your model, your year, and it'll pull up everything that is an exact fit for your bike. It will also pull up some products that might not be an exact fit, but still may work with just a little bit of a modification. But for today, we're going to be concentrating on those pieces that are exact fits. And for Miss Finesse's 22 Chieftain Icon, we're going to be putting on the Magic Strobe and the Saddlebag lights. So since these are an exact fit, like I said, the Custom Dynamics lights are plug and play, which is the best thing about them. You don't have to do any crazy wire magic. I mean, other than hiding wires, but that's a whole other thing. But you don't have to do anything like cutting into the wires or cutting into a harness. Everything just plugs right in. They make it super simple. It's a really good product. I had it on my Pursuit, and since me and Mrs. Finesse were kind of matching, with the themes and everything with the bikes that we get, her bike does not have Magic Strobe, so we are going to fix that today, in addition to the saddlebag lights. All right, as you all know, Indian Motorcycles uses LED lights for their brake run turn signals on all their touring models, in addition to the other lines. And these throw out quite a bit of light, whether it's daytime or nighttime. Those LED lights work very well. However, in the interest of safety, you always want to draw more attention to yourself when you're stopping. So for that, we're going to be adding the saddlebag lights to give you more light, more attention. And then to add more on top of that, we're going to be doing the Magic Strobe, which is going to give you like this flashing light to kind of draw your eyes to that as well. So it's just going to make you as a rider feel more safe. And in addition to that, when people are behind you, whether in their cars or on bikes or, whatever the case may be, they're going to see that as well, and it's going to draw some more attention to your eyes. So enough talking about it. Let's get to work. All right, let's take a look at these LED bags, saddlebag lights for Indian motorcycles. As you see, there's a range. You can pause here and take a look at it if you like. But basically, if you have an Indian motorcycle that has the square saddlebags, these lights are going to be a direct fit on those. There's a few models in the lineup that have the rounded bags, which these won't work, obviously, because the shape is different. But let's open it up, see what we have. All right, you're going to get a right and left. You see there's 3M tape on the back of them. These also come in red. I got the smoked version. You're going to get the wire harness connector that connects the lights to the bike via the wire harness. And then after that, you get some mounting hardware for your wires. And then you also get some instructions. Custom Dynamics does a good job with their instructions. They're really clear. They're simple. There's usually not a lot of steps in there, but it's enough to get you what you need to get these installed. All right, so you're going to want to make sure that you clean your saddlebags really good. You want to make sure that there's no dirt and debris on there, because that's going to make it better for the 3M tape to adhere to the bike. Let's pause for a second here. As you can see, I've already got the right side complete, and I'm going to use that as a reference, because that gap that's between the saddlebag and the light, I I'm gonna wanna match that to the other side. All right, let's go. Again, I'm gonna make sure my surface that I'm working on is nice and clean. I had a damp microfiber towel that I'm wiping this off with. And you're gonna wanna do a test fit. But before you do that, make sure that the saddlebag is completely closed, which is what you see I'm doing right now. I'm trying to make sure I've got that pressed down good, and everything's good to go now. So I'm gonna take my slides up here, get it a nice little test fit, make sure everything's where it needs to be. Then after that, I'm gonna pull the tape off the back to reveal the adhesive portion of the 3M tape. But I'm only pulling it halfway. When I put it up to the bike here, you'll see the little pigtails hanging out. So that once I get it where I want it, then I can just, hold it in place and remove the rest of the tape. All right, so I got it where I wanted it. I'm removing the rest of the tape. And then after that, you get a hard press. Make sure everything is contacting like it should be. It doesn't take too much, but you want to make sure it has good contact. And now I'm putting on my mounting hardware. So I just line it up in the middle of that grommet there. After that, I do the same thing for the rear, lining it up with the light. And then for my third one, I am just splitting the difference between the two, and it gives you a pretty good line. It doesn't have to be exact. After that, you insert your zip ties. I loosely place the wire in the zip ties, and then once I get done with that, I come back through and make sure everything's tight. So I pull the wire tight, and then I put the zip ties on those. So it gives you a nice, neat little straight line there. After that, you just trim the edges, 1, 2, and 3. And then I start working on this wire that's hanging down, because you don't want a lot of stuff dangling around on your bike. So real simple, I just take 3 zip ties and place them the same way I did the ones up top, the top and bottom, and then I come back through the middle, making sure that everything is lined up as it should be. Right, make sure it's good, tie those down, then you're going to take the snips and cut the trim. And after that, that's pretty much it. That's the entire install on the actual saddlebag. Now we're going to reinstall the saddlebags back on the bike. When you're putting the saddlebags back on, make sure that the wire doesn't get caught up in there, and you get everything secured. And then once we get done with that, we'll get on to the next phase of this installation. All right, we are looking at the Magic Strobe module. Real simple. Once we get it out of the package, you'll see that there are only 2 connections for this piece. And then in the middle of that, you have the brains of the strobe. And under this little flap is the selector for the pattern for the strobes. Now it comes from Custom Dynamics set at 6, and me and Mrs. Finesse like it, so we leave them there. The instructions, just like on the saddlebag lights, real easy to follow, real simple instructions, nothing too difficult here. On the back, you get the description of all the options for that strobe selection, as well as an image of the bike, which I have upside down. I'm gonna realize that here in a second and turn it over. I'm just standing on the other side of the bike is all. But here you can see the main wire harness plug, which is right here in this bottom left corner, right there. So that's what you're gonna be unplugging and plugging the strobe into. All right, so when you're looking at the wires for the saddlebag lights, one is going to have a brown wire, that's for your right side, and then the other one's going to have a purple wire, and that's for the left side. So, which I'm illustrating right here. Once you get those identified, you're going to want to route your wires. So for the Chieftain models, there's already some wire going through the frame right here. So I figured, there's no better spot to put it than right here. It's already made for that. So once I get the wire up in there, which is giving me a little difficulty, but that's just because it's a very small space, and my hands are not they're not small enough to fit in there. So it takes a little bit of working, but I eventually do get the line through there. And you can tuck that connector right there by the connector for your saddlebag lights. And on these Chieftain models, there is the antenna wire that's running along the frame right there. So what I'm going to do is zip tie this wire to that line to keep it tucked and out of the way. All right, now that I've got that done, I'm going to connect this, the right saddlebag light to the harness right there. You just found the brown wire, and you plug them in. It's pretty simple. It only goes in one way. Make sure it's snug. Good to go. All right. Easy, right? All right, so on to the left side. So the left side, that's where your main fuse is for this model Chieftain. But there's no real easy place to mount it over there, keeping it out of the way. However, there is a steel braided line on the monoshock that I attached it to. Now keep in mind, it doesn't have to be super tight. It just has to be enough to keep it out of the way. The rest of that stuff you're going to be tucking and putting that out of the way as well. So it's not like it's flapping around. But in those situations, you got to use your best judgment on whatever you want. You can zip tie it to the frame. You can zip tie it to other existing wires, whatever the case may be. For me, I just chose to put it here because it was the best accessible point and out of the way. All right, and once I got that done, then I just connect this to the harness as well. So on this kit, on the right side, it had a sticker on it, so that once I identified which was which, that actually made it quite easy when I started going back in there. So now that's done, you're left with that pin connector that's going to be plugging into the magic strobe. So I'm getting that ready. I'm getting the bike unplugged here. So the one with the blue rubber on it, that is what's going to the main harness of the bike. So you're going to plug the strobe into that. Then after that, you're going to take that same blue colored pin connector and plug that into the saddlebag lights. And then your saddlebag lights goes into the rear lights for the bike, which is right here. Boom, super simple, color coded, makes it really easy. But again, that's the main wire harness, the magic strobe, the saddlebag lights, and then you plug it into the rear lights of the bike. So once that is complete, now it's time to get all your wire management under control. So there is enough space in there. You're just gonna have to move some things around and find a spot that works best for you to get these wires in there. All right, once you get everything managed, you want to go back through and make sure you cut all the zip ties that you placed around the bike. Got everything nice and tucked, nice and put away. And there's that antenna wire that I connected that to, and then that down there on the monoshock is where I connected that wire. All right, everybody, we are done with the actual installation portion of it. So what I'm going to do now, before I put the bike back together, is turn the lights on to make sure everything's running properly. So the lights are on, it's a good sign. We're going to hit the left signal. Okay. Right signal, all right. Then of course you got your hazards. And then the brakes. All right, so now that we know everything's working, we can put it all back together. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for the installation of the Custom Dynamics Magic Strobe module and Saddlebag lights on Miss Finesse's 22 Chieftain Icon Darkhorse. Installation was super simple. You don't need any tools other than the tools you need to take your bike apart, as well as something to cut the zip ties off after you've bundled your wires. And the result, man, it's just phenomenal. It really makes the back end of this bike light up, you know, with the strobe and then the additional 2 lights in the back. You're not going to be disappointed, especially if you're looking to light up the rear end of your bike. So I'm going to have links to these products in the description down below. So if you're in the market, make sure you check these out. And the Custom Dynamic lights, I've used them before on Miss Finesse's Super Chief and my Indian Challenger when I had it. And I had 0 problems. Love their products. Love the plug and play. All right. So as always, man, ride every day. And most importantly, make sure you're enjoying it. Peace.